For daily Ask Reddit. Elevator maintenance folks, what is the weirdest thing you have found at the bottom of the elevator chamber? I once accidentally lost my driver's license down the little gap in the elevator doors. Just dropped it and was super unlucky as it slipped through. It turned up in my mail 10 years later. Obviously long expired, but still crazy some maintenance guy found it and bothered retuning it. Well over 1500 tax returns at the bottom of the Atos North Brisbane office elevator shaft. Bloody hell. Were you sent there to retrieve them, or did some Drango just lose them and thought no one will find them anyway? Also, were they at x/mygov printouts, or the old paper submitted ones? This is going back quite a few years, when I think ATO employees were doing favors for people. At one time the system was so full of holes, employees could do all sorts of things they shouldn't have without fear of being caught. Worked at a hotel. Guest dropped their phone down the shaft. After a few failed retrieval efforts, we called the elevator guys. They went down, got the phone, and also found a carton of eggs. Rotten, but not cracked. I don't even understand how that could happen accidentally, because it was no accident. I work in tech now, but while I was in college I helped an HVAC guy and he once had me put a carton of fresh eggs in the duct of a client's office that had stiffed him before. When I asked him why I was doing this, he said if this method doesn't pay up, he's going to have a new issue. But then the guy paid 2 days later, and I was sent to retrieve the eggs. He called it his 99-cent insurance policy. My dad has a great story about this. He supervised the mechanics, and one of them called him from a mental hospital and said you've got to see this. The maintenance guy was called because the elevator wasn't quite sitting level on the ground floor. It was about half an inch too high and both patients and staff had been tripping on it. But all other floors were no problem. My dad arrived to find the maintenance guy cackling, looking into the bottom of the shaft. There were probably tens of thousands of magazines down there. They had to get a bunch of shovels, a small crew, and a rolling dumpster to clear it out. When it was all done, my dad decided to stay behind and pretend to read a newspaper while he sat in the lobby. After about half an hour, he sees an elderly patient holding a magazine, shuffling slowly toward the elevator. He stops in front of the doors, glances left, glances right, and quickly stoops down, slides the magazine into the gap, and shuffles away as fast as he can with a huge grin on his face. My dad could not help but laugh hysterically. This guy had probably been sliding magazines in there multiple times per day, every day, for decades. I should ask him whether he reported it, or let the guy have his fun. Wouldn't surprise me if my dad went with the latter. Our team dropped a steel anal dilator down the dumbwaiter shaft by mistake. When the technician came down and grabbed it off the floor, I'll never forget the look on his face when I told him we need that up here, it's got to go in someone's ass soon. It was priceless. I'm a technician for a hospital, dealing with rectal surgical tools is very normal. One time, we were doing a rip out at an old factory. They were gutting them and turning them into luxury apartments. The elevator we were taking out was a shitty old freight that hadn't run in years. When we finally ran it up, we went down to inspect the pit. It smelled like a dead body had chilled there for half a century. The bottom floor wasn't lit, so I shined my flashlight under the elevator and the whole floor started moving. Roaches. Nasty. Haven't really found anything fun though. I've cleaned out more pits than I could count too. I gave my mom a cheap ring I found. Found a pair of underwear at a hotel. Found a full packet at a courthouse of some lady's case transcribed. Oh, I was on a mod once, and one of the hoistway doors had an advertisement sticker for a tennis restringing service. Which was weird, because it was somewhere only an elevator guy should be able to reach. I called the number, but it was out of service. I found some cool graffiti from the 40s. That's about it. I worked on escalators for a year and a half. There was a lot more in those pits. I was taking home bent up quarters every day. There was lots of shoe bits, and I was always nervous of coming across used needles in certain units. Not a technician, but do work at a large hotel. A few years ago one of our elevators stopped working. Turned out when they opened it up they found a 3-foot pile of guest folios that were never delivered to the rooms. Later when we looked on the camera we found it was a security guard that got tired of delivering them to the rooms and instead dropped them down the elevator shaft. He did this for months until he was caught.